Welcome to the Invest In Podcast, the show where we help you learn how to make more money through real estate and other passive investments. We're your hosts, Zach Hoyt and Eric Richner, entrepreneurs, investors, and the guys behind Maverick Asher Capital. Whether you're a seasoned investor or just getting started, buckle up because we're taking you on a journey to help you achieve the lifestyle of your dreams.
Now let's hit the road.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Invest In Podcast, where we uncover tons of ways to invest in the life of your dreams. I'm your host, Zach Hoyt, and today we're welcoming back our COO, that's Chief Operations Officer, Kevin Jones. Real excited to have him back. In this episode, we're going to be talking about why we chose the business models in general and the strategies that we have for our different aligned businesses. So give you a little insight of how things started and hopefully give you some actionable thoughts for if you're looking to start your own business in these. So if you've been following along in the past episodes, you would have heard that our team is really heavily investing in the RV park asset class, right? Very, very much so. Specifically, we've got three main business ventures. One is this Hidden Beach RV resort, developing raw land into the most technologically advanced RV and glamping destination in the world. It's awesome. Some have called it the Disneyland of RV parks. That's really fun. And then the next one is this other buying and dramatically modernizing 25 RV parks. So as opposed to developing, we're buying those ones and modernizing them, bringing them back from the dark ages, essentially. And the third business is developing an RV park marketplace and community for owners, investors, developers, vendors, basically everyone that is in the industry to all come together in harmony. And it's all very strategically designed in a set of vertically integrated companies. They all work together in a way behind the scenes and in front of the scenes. And you can invest in all of these yourself through our other company, Maverick Asher Capital. And that, of course, is the exclusive private equity fund that I always link at the bottom where you can chat right with me about any of that. So exciting stuff. Why did we do what we're doing to give you some insight into that? So I'm going to pose some of these questions to Kevin and myself so that we can just chat about them a little bit and you can get some insight into that. So Kevin, one of the first things we're going to do here is we're going to go back in time. We're going to think about everything and we're just going to discuss why we made these decisions that we did. So I guess for starters, why did we get into the RV park asset class? And of course, there's tons of episodes about that. So we're just going to keep it kind of succinct in the beginning because we obviously love this asset class. So Kevin, what you got for us?
Yeah, so for me, it all kind of started with COVID. I'd owned single family housing and was having some issues with evictions for people that, didn't want to pay their rent. And I was looking for other ways to make money and to kind of upgrade from the single family. So I started looking at, maybe a mobile home park, but they kind of had similar issues, but not as bad. And then I started seeing RV parks everywhere. And I'm like, let me look at this and realized they didn't have the eviction issue. So for me, that was sold. And then I saw the profits you can make from it. And I'm like, oh, this is really sold. So it was really it started with the eviction stuff and just everything I kept learning about RV parks just was much better than anything else that I could have invested in. So it was just a win-win-win all around.
Yeah, those are great ones. Not having to evict someone and the money that could be made from them. Holy smokes. Yeah. So a lot of you guys listening are probably sharing those same sentiments with that. For me, it was owning, similar to Kevin, owning a bunch of property, dealing with all of that headache. Definitely there were evictions. There were houses that caught on fire. I mentioned that in another episode in the past, but just looking to do something bigger. And so a lot of people get into multifamily. And that's the majority of them. And it just didn't resonate for me. There's something that was missing. I couldn't quite put my finger on it until my firstborn was nearly born. And as I was contemplating it all, and I would find out these things like Kevin is talking about, holy smokes, the amount of cash flow that comes off of these things can be crazy, right? It's definitely something that's at a bigger scale than a single family home. So that's checking some boxes there. The evictions, yeah, drag them out. That sounds great to me, and a lot shorter process too. Certainly have some fun stories, different stories from that. But yeah, aside from all those different things and lots of little reasons, the big reason for me was just the fact that I got to be able to enjoy this with my family, with my friends. It's something we can go there, be proud of, travel the country, see these different destinations, come back over time, and just keep building on them. It was some of the best memories that I ever had was camping growing up. And I don't know why it took me all this time to come around to realize that. It's crazy. Sometimes the epiphanies you get are right in front of your face. And so all of those things were in alignment, getting to teach my little boy all these things. And if Kevin and I didn't mention it enough times, it makes tons of money, like tons of money. And we love that, right? And that's what our investors love too. And so that's one of the main driving factors in it. And it's really poised to make tons of money ever since COVID here. And especially in this next 5-10 years, things are going to be booming with all of that. So if you want to hear a whole episode of why we love the RV park asset class, go check out one of the past ones that are in there. We certainly go over that in detail. So without beating that like a dead horse, let's just move into the next thing. The next thing is, what about you've got sort of two different options when it comes to an RV park. You can either buy one that's existing and do something with it, or you can develop one from raw land that's out there. Any land that's out there, you can go and develop it. And so, what is that? Because we obviously made a decision with Hidden Beach that we're going to develop this from the ground up and raw land. And so, Kevin, yeah, what are some of your takeaways on that? Your thoughts that took you down that path of why develop versus just buying an existing?
So for me, I started kind of locally of where I live and was looking at RV parks that were for sale, and just all the ones that I could see were just really basic in design. Like there's no technology. It was a lot of dirt pads. Just they take a lot of work to upgrade them to anything that I thought would be average. So a lot of them were just like below average in my eyes. So then we started looking at, well, what could we do to build our own, and then we started getting ideas for how do we make it our own. And once we started looking at different options, the more we saw what we could actually do with it, and make it above and beyond everything that was around. Because in this area, like there's no resorts. I mean, there's a few that call themselves resorts, but they're definitely not resorts. So we wanted something that would stand out in this area because there's just nothing that I feel was like a resort level anywhere near this. So we wanted to buy our own land to develop something that we can make our own, have the right design from the beginning, be able to intentionally put everything in that we want, and not have to worry about old infrastructure decaying and having to repair it and replace it. There's just a lot of things that made a lot of sense when we started looking at the full life of the park or resort that we were going to build. Is just, if we're going to put technology into it, we wanted to do it right from the start, not have to kind of make a Frankenstein park, as we're trying to upgrade it, because we were going so far into the technology with it.
Yeah, yeah, good points. Because uh, in that whole debate, and we'll probably have another podcast episode all talking about that whole debate of build it versus buy it and do something with it, because it's a good conversation to have. But for us, yeah, we wanted to create this flagship RV resort. We want it to be amazing. And like Kevin was saying, trying to shoehorn in things with the existing infrastructure is just really fighting against nature, since most of the infrastructure is all underground anyway. With these RV parks, you'd really be undoing a lot of things. So with that, yeah, we decided we want to build it. from the ground up, do it exactly how we want, to do all these really fun things. And it was going to take some time. We knew it was going to take some time. That's okay. So while we started that with that one venture, the Hidden Beach RV Resort, while that's going on, we're also buying and developing and modernizing these other existing parks. So while some people will go with an or type of approach, if you've heard some of the past episodes as well, I like the word and instead. It's just much more allowing in life to do whatever you want. Just and it, right? Instead of or. So it's just a matter of which order we're doing those. So let's start this development off so we can get everything exactly how we want it. And we want to go and buy and modernize a bunch of existing RV parks that are out there because it's faster for cash flow. It's faster for realizing everything. There's less mountains to uh, hurdle to get over all these potential issues that are out there. And we can go over in some of our later episodes some updates on projects to deal with some of the issues that there are, because I think those are wonderful learning moments as well. So you don't have to deal with them as much with existing, but you don't get that flexibility of doing whatever the heck you want. And that's why we're creating this awesome place that's really exciting for everyone that's all around there and in the country to come and visit. So really fun stuff with the Hidden Beach RV Resort. Cool. So that's that whole buy versus build debate, really truncated. I guess the next thing is, why did we decide on North Carolina and this specific piece of property?
So there's an average, I guess you say rental rate per pad, depending on which state you're in.
Mm-hmm.
North Carolina happens to be the top tier because of its location. It's very temperate zone. It's kind of in the middle of your snowbirds that come down from the north, or people from the south that want to go up north, don't want to go too far. It's just kind of the sweet spot of where RV people want to go. So you can demand a higher price. So there's more profit there. So that's why kind of North Carolina, but also because I've lived here for so many years, I wanted something to start off with that I'd be right there with, and local that I knew stuff about. I didn't want to start in
That
another
certainly
state.
works out well. And with me in Ohio, I'm looking for a place that isn't cold half the year. You've got that baby bear temperature just perfect right in the middle there.
Yeah. So that's why the state. But as far as the specific piece of property, we kind of bounced around a bit. We were looking at different things in the area. I mean, there's lots of good properties that are on the water, and we looked at this and looked at that, and we finally found this one that just, it was large enough. It was right on the water. It was undeveloped. It was really out of the way, which is nice to get away from everything. And it just really felt like an area that we could really mold into what we wanted it to be.
Yeah, it's an awesome place. It is tucked away. It's going to be a destination. Certainly, people are going to go there, just like in Disneyland when that first started. That was a swampland, of course, and nobody wanted to go there.
Uh-huh.
But it's at the right location for all those different things. And so, yeah, the fact like it's right on the water, it's wonderful. Saltwater beach, beautiful, even faces west as opposed to facing east. So it's a little more protected from some hurricanes and items like that. And you get those beautiful sunsets. So many different things are just stacked for this. We love the land in general. Absolutely love the land. So all right, so we got and we found a perfect piece of property that's in the right state, like Kevin was talking about, because that's really important. What he was mentioning, that dollar amount that you get per state, that's one of the first places you want to start, because we're in this for the money after all, right? We've got investors, we got to get them happy. That means money, along with time and memories that they get to enjoy at this place, but money. So we got the piece of property. Now, we're specifically looking to do something with technology at this place. And there's a little bit of a difference between a resort level versus a park level. So maybe one of the first things I want to ask is, why didn't we just do a park. There's a bunch of RV parks that are around there already, visited there. And those RV parks, I wouldn't even call them parks. They're more like campgrounds or wastelands or things like that. An RV wasteland, if that's a category. But we decided to go really that top tier of resort. And so, Kevin, what are your thoughts on that? Why do we do that versus just another park?
So it kind of evolved into it because we kind of started off with like a park, and the more and more we talked about what we wanted it to be, the more it just kept going to resort level. Like we wanted to see like where would we want to go, and we went to every single park in the area and compared, and we're like, well, we don't like this, we don't like that, and we just kind of got a really good idea of what we wanted it to be, and that was above what everyone had here. And that kind of got us to resort level. And then when we started looking into uh, all the fun things we could do with it, we're like, well, okay, this is going to be like a top tier resort. Um, and with the specific property, we had to think, well, what's going to get people out here? Because it is a little bit of a drive off the main interstate. So, what would get people to make that drive over there versus picking one of the lesser ones that was closer to the interstate? So we're like,
Hmm.
well, if there's a resort with all these great things in it, uh, that's something that you're going to do a little drive and get a little bit out of your way to go to. So that was I think the final kicker. We're like, yep, that's going to do it. We need something that'll drive people there, and there's nothing like this around. So let's just go full resort. And of course, that also leaned into the technology and everything else, and everything just kind of fell into place, like it was, uh, like it was destiny almost. But I mean, everything just kind of easily fell into place with what we wanted to do.
Yeah. 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 It's really, if we're going to do something, let's be proud about it. Let's make it awesome. Let's do it to the tens, right? Then how they say the nines, but the tens. We want to do it all the way, and so that's the resort level, and it makes it our flagship on everything. Definitely can be proud about it, and it really focuses us to be the best, to be the most, to be the most amazing thing that people have seen in this asset class to date, and so basically that just continues to challenge us in how many ways, right? In everything that we do. And so, yeah, a lot more fun to be a resort level versus just some regular park that's out there. Why go for mediocrity, right? Let's just be amazing and shoot for that, right? So part of that, like Kevin mentioned, is we're leaning real heavily into technology. Obviously, we're planning on some automations that are around things, lots of robots, and yes, let's talk a little bit more about that, Kevin. Why are we loving this technology so much and these robots? How many ways do we love these robots?
Well, I grew up with technology, and it's been kind of my career going up through the military. Is I've done just about everything with computers, so I love technology. And when we started thinking about what we wanted in our resort, everything kind of made things easier. So with all the technology, there's conveniences, and we started looking at the different technology that was out there for us to use, and it's just like, well, why wouldn't we want that in there? I mean, it reduces the number of staff that we would need. It increases security. It makes it easier for the guests. There's apps that will tell you when the laundry machine is ready for you to put your stuff in, so you can stay in your RV and just kind of keep tabs on it, and then when it's available, you can go and check instead of having to keep checking all the time, or worse, sit there and wait. So there's just lots of little things just here and there that it just all kind of works together to make the experience more enjoyable. Because I mean, you're on vacation after all. If you're here, you're on vacation. You're trying to enjoy yourself. You don't want all these extras, little things, or these nagging things on you. You want things to be easy, and technology just allows us to do that. Um, and it also helps us as owners because it reduces the staff cost, and it makes things more profitable.
Yeah. Yeah. You touched on so many good things. Yeah. From so obviously as an owner's standpoint, yeah, staffing, reducing all of that where you can have robots, that's awesome. I think about just today when I'm working on my pool and I'm getting everything going with the pool. And if you guys have ever opened a pool every year, closed a pool, it is a big pain in the behind right there, right? So many different things with that. But what I will say is I love my robot, my little Roger the robot. I drop this pool cleaner in every day, drop him in, and he goes and he moves all around the bottom and sucks everything up. I don't have to go and manually go and bring that giant, huge hose, hook the thing up, get it all to work. Sometimes, oh, it doesn't work, and you're trying to suck all those things up. It's a pain in the butt. Every time I drop him in, I just say, "Thank you, Roger," and he just flies away underground under the water, and he's taking everything away. It's that simple thing is like multiplied exponentially with an RV park of all the very menial tasks that people won't have to do because there's just robots there. And the fact that we can have our general store open 24/7 so that people can get access to everything, it comes back to convenience. Like Kevin was saying, huge convenience to be able to get whatever they want at any given time. That's huge. And to have a little app that we have, some technology with that, where people can order additional things that aren't even in our physical general store, but we have an app on the phone that people can go, and then a robot can go and deliver it right to their pad. How interesting is that, yet alone convenient? And so the interesting standpoint, let's talk about that. The novelty. Sometimes people just like to look, almost like people watching, but it's technology watching. Let's go see what this thing does. Shoot, let's see if it falls down, right? Let's see if it fails. See if it fails, see if it does something great, but just watching it is interesting. And of course, you know, there'll be videos of people interacting with that as well. And then Kevin mentioned security. Yeah, tons of security. That's awesome. We can have more eyes and ears, and that translates into a safer environment for people. And if there is a problem, we can respond quickly from that. So that is all huge. And then communication. Think about that. All the different automations and stuff. If you had to have a human pick up the phone or text every gosh darn time that there was something, it would be a whole other person, two people, whatever. And some people don't even like to answer the call. Are you guys like that, where you don't even want to answer your call anymore? You're like, send it to voicemail. They'll leave a message if they want. They'll text me if they want. Maybe we're becoming a little more introverted or whatever that is. But definitely the older generation was pick up the phone, and the younger generation is I'm not going to pick up the phone. So how many ways, you know, if we're leading into the future, we've got to acknowledge that. And we've got to address both of those demographics, all of those demographics. So where we can add some more communication, where it's just like, okay, you can communicate right here in text with our AI that's responding to things. That's great. If you want, and you say, you're smashing your phone, you say, give me a frickin' human right now to talk to. Okay, cool. It'll respond, and then a frickin' human will call you just like you want. And by the way, we're having real humans greet everyone at the gate because yes, it's a very human type of fun interaction that we're having with all of this. And we want people to know that, yes, we are here, we are available, but if you want us to step away, we will also give you your serenity, your peace, your quiet, and all of that. So you can have that more enjoyable experience for whatever you want. Yeah, so it's a matter of using this technology and robots without, overusing it or solely using it. Really, it's acknowledging that yin and that yang of everything as we move into a new era of robots. So that's cool. Exciting stuff. Robots and AI technology, all of that, kind of lumping that all together. And you'll be able to see the different pool cleaners and grass mowers and everything like that. Here's the next one that's on here. The next thing, I really love this one, and it's sustainable design. If you guys don't know, I am an architect, among other things. I have a couple degrees, including a master's in that, and I went to the College of Architecture and Environmental Design at Kent State. And it's a wonderful school, top rated, and I went there specifically because I love sustainable design, things that are good for the environment, that are good for, we call it the triple bottom line. It's good for people, profits, and planets. So all at the same time. Why settle, right? So, sustainability. Kevin, what are your thoughts on sustainability at the RV park level, and why are we even deciding to include that at all?
So I'm a big environment guy as well, and the big concern I think a lot of people have is, well, it costs more, I can't afford that. But there are a lot of state and federal grants that, if you plan for it, will give you funding for it, and it makes the everything. I say when you design it together, everything just works like a dream. So, for example, um, we plan on doing like a wastewater treatment plant that serves the community. So it's helping the environment, but it also prevents the pollution of groundwater like you'd have with septic tanks.
Hmm.
So we're going to be using well water out there, and we don't want to pollute our wells with, with septic waste. So, we using wastewater treatment plant to clean the water so that doesn't happen. You can also blend it together with solar panels that you can also use to use that surface area to collect rainwater, and then you're reusing all that water, so it's not causing any like sheet runoff or erosion. Like there's lots of just different things that you can incorporate together that not only help you save money, uh, and create like reusable water, solar power, using rain gardens. There's just all these different things that are just sustainable design that works really well together. It looks really nice, and it just helps you save money. And going back to the state and federal grants, they'll help you pay for it. So it just makes it all worth it, and you get to
Yeah.
feel good about it too. I mean, that's the big thing for me is I get to feel good that I'm helping the environment, not hurting it.
Yeah, yeah, I like that you said that because yeah, that's super important to me. It's a holistic approach. It's doing all of these things together, because you absolutely can. We've got a choice as developers. Do we want to do these things or not? And like Kevin said, it's money. A lot of times comes the biggest problem with that. And but with these grants, it certainly helps things. No, I love the fact that we can protect nature, that we can preserve nature. There's some grants that we can get just to preserve specifically the nature that's there, and that's one of the things we have to celebrate with this whole place is the nature of it, and that's what people want to come and see is just get immersed in that. Yes, they want their technology, but gosh, get me into some nature. Give me a fire, give me the wind, give me the earth, give me some water, those basic things that just
And
make
teach them
nature
about
so
it too.
awesome. What was that?
And teach them about it too. I mean, we want to do education as well and incorporate
Yes.
that to teach people about the design and show people like, look, this is how it works.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up. That's a huge thing. So in architecture, not only like they would teach us first passive design before sustainable design. Passive design is designing things around nature where, all right, this area gets hot. Let's put some trees where we need to give us shade. Let's know that it sets in the west and not design something with windows on the west. So it's always going to heat up the building on the inside. So it's orienting everything right, working with nature, the wind that happens in the different times of the year, even like the water. Kevin mentioned these rain gardens. You don't realize that a lot of places will have detention ponds essentially for storm water runoff, and we're not looking to have that. We're looking to have rain gardens, these things that have local plants that thrive both in drought and in a lot of rain. And so it's wonderful because these things look pretty and they're doing it all naturally at the same time. So why the heck not? And yeah, we're going to put solar panels and it can feed back into the grid, and it can help if there's a natural disaster. People are going to be coming to our place because nothing else is working or available, and we've got lots of hookups for lots of people. But yeah, what he mentioned in the end, that teaching, I think that's a huge, huge, undermentioned item of what we're doing and what people do in general. It's part of what architecture loves doing is just let's teach it. We want to do the thing great, but then let's share it with other people and say, hey, look at that thing. Guess what? This is what it's making better for us. It's collecting the rainwater. It's, pumping this back into the system. It's the wastewater treatment plant is protecting the groundwater, all these things. People don't know this unless there's signs that and interactive giving them a reason to learn all of this. And so, yeah, we're planning all of those things together. And one of the reasons for that is not only is it like a duty that we have as architects, and I'd say, frankly, should have as developers to do these things, to teach people best practices, things of sustainability, but also as parents and different generations. We have to teach younger generations all of these items. And so, what a better place than when we have their captivated attention and it's right there, right in front of them at a place that they're seeing something novel, like, oh, wow, these guys are so advanced with robots. Wow, they can do this with the water too. They can do this with every single thing. I mean, they're going to think that we're next level, but a lot of these things everyone can do. It's just a choice. And so that's going to be part of the conversation too, is teaching them that. And of course, I'm thinking about my two little boys as well. I got to teach them everything in the darn world. So what a better outdoor learning environment than to just have this RV resort, and frankly, all the different places that we have RV parks as good teachable moments for nature, for fitness, for all of that. So all the different things, we want people to elevate their mind and their body, and create those wonderful memories for them. So yeah, all those things together, on top of just why the heck not? Because we love nature. So why the heck not? Right? Show me the reasons why, as opposed to why not. So sustainable design, heck yeah. The next one, why are we building 300 units? Why aren't we building 50 units, 25 units, or 3,000 units? Like where's that sweet baby bear number of 300 plus units that we have, Kevin?
Well, for one, we have the space. We got
Yeah,
a lot of
it's fair.
acreage. But also, we took a look at I mentioned we went to all the RV parks in the area, and this is a really destination spot area. Even not even on the water, there's RV parks that are not even touching the water, and they'll fill up during the tournaments for fishing, various events in the area that they'll come to, or just because it's summer. They'll come in and Memorial Day or whatever holiday, they'll come in and just fill up the parks where there's no space left, and it's increasing. But it really kind of started during COVID, where there is great financing and interest rates available for people to buy RVs. So a lot of people started buying RVs, and then couple that with being able to work from home, there's just an explosion of new people that have never had RVs before that are now suddenly having RVs. So RV parks were suddenly finding themselves really full, and there's no availability. Well, okay, so that leaves us, well, how many should we make? Well, not only are we going to be a destination area in an area that is oversaturated, or I should say, not enough space to come into, but we're also going to be, the most technologically advanced RV resort in the world. So it's going to be a draw just from that for conventions and for, just other gatherings that people would come to, just because it is that gem. There's nothing like this in the world, so people would flock to it. So we need to make sure that we have plenty of space to accommodate everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, that's spot on. So I think it's the baby bear number. It's not 30, it's not 3,000. That 300 is right good right there for the right amount. We want to have that space, and it's going to be built out in some phases because, again, guys, the building takes time. And we do have the space, so why not do that and make it a fun, enjoyable place for everyone? And also, yeah, everything since COVID, yes. And so people buy RVs. And another reason they buy them is just because housing is not affordable anymore, and it's only going to get worse. And so RV parks in general, they're going to help with that affordable housing issue in many different ways because they can absorb people now. And if in the future, for some reason, these RV parks in general want to convert over to affordable housing, it's pretty easy since there's all the hookups right there. You just plunk a tiny home right down and you're good to go. So I would say it is future proof too, which is a little more even than recession proof, right? So loving RV parks and everything. And so, yeah, having lots of space is super good. So that's why we love Hidden Beach RV Resort and got into that and all the details of that. If you guys were curious with all of that, love to hear your comments or questions and thoughts on that. I guess I want to shift gears just for a little bit here to wrap it up with the other venture where we're buying existing parks, and we're not going to make them the most technologically advanced because there can only be one of those, but we're just going to buy them and modernize them. So why are we buying and modernizing in general? We've talked about why we're buying them. Maybe we haven't talked so much about why we're modernizing them. So maybe we'll lean on that aspect.
Sure. So, like I said before, a lot of these RV parks just are not technologically advanced. They're like dirt pads, or they're just very, very basic. And by modernizing, we can reduce the number of staff that's needed. We can increase conveniences. To give an example, if the RV park currently has a store that they have to have a clerk in that mans it during certain hours, well, that's an employee you got to pay to sell things, when you could just put in some vending machines that would sell the same stuff, and then have an online store for like bigger items that wouldn't fit, and have your manager or whoever deliver those items via like concierge service. So it just increases the experience for the guest, and it increases the number of hours that it's available because you can keep that area that the vending machines are over 24/7. So it reduces the cost of your employees, and it increases conveniences. So why not do that? But then there's other modernization type stuff that just um, I would say across the board, just increases the guest experience. For example,
Mm-hmm.
an app online that you can do for your park, that you can do your own custom scavenger hunts to make it fun for the
Fun.
and educate people about stuff in your park. There's lots of possibilities there. And it has other features in it that help answer questions or give information that just reduces the load on your staff, so they're free up to do other things and assist guests. So there's so many different things that your normal mom and pop RV park just doesn't do and isn't aware of. So there's a lot of room for improvement, and in most cases, it doesn't cost a lot of money to make these small improvements, but the guest experience on the other end is just so much better than what they're used to, that you're going to stand out, from the other ones.
Yeah. Experience. I think that's the one word, just experience, which turns into convenience and memories. Like great memories and convenience. You got to realize a lot of these people have this big rig and they need this stuff. They can't just drive down to the store very easily for most of them. And sometimes they just don't want to, right? Because they're not there to go to the store. They're there to have fun. So why not offer that to them? There's some places that we're buying that don't have any type of store component whatsoever. That's crazy. It's just really not in touch with the people that are staying there, right? And it's definitely a missed opportunity. So while we're buying these 25 existing RV parks and modernizing them, we have a very specific buy box. And so I just wanted to touch on some of those aspects of it to, again, give you insight into our thought process behind it all and why it's not just any old RV park that's out there. I mean, that's one of the first things with real estate investing is it's figuring out why this place, why this specific time, and what you're going to do there. And so having a plan that you can implement across all of them, it basically leads back to what this is called a buy box. So it's a box of items that these potential RV parks must check in order for us to want to buy them. That's how we can easily filter out opportunities. So one of the first ones that we have here is southern states. Kevin, why do we like southern states versus northern states?
Seasonality is the thing.
Yeah.
So, or you can boil it down to
Freezing pipes that are just a real
snow.
pain in the butt and nobody's there during the winter. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, if you're south of the Basin-Dixon line, generally you can stay open year round. Even if you're at lower occupancy during the winter, you can still stay open and do things. But if you're too far north, you're shutting down. You're putting antifreeze in your pipes. You're doing everything to winterize everything, and then just shutting down and going home. So you're not making any money. But we're into making money, so we want to stay in the southern states and make sure that we're open year round.
Yeah, heck yeah. And even though, Florida doesn't make the most per state compared to North Carolina in the research of the nightly amounts that they're making. And part of the reason why is because Florida kind of sucks in summer, right? It has seasonality too. It's just too swampy, too rainy during times. So it's just a matter of finding that real sweet spot. So I'm saying in general, southern states. But one of the next ones that we care about is being near an interstate. Now, why the heck would we want to be near an interstate for an RV park?
Well, because that's where most RVs travel. And so they want to stay north, south, or east, west, whichever way they're going. They're going to travel the interstate. And when they're looking at places to stop off to wherever their final destination is, they don't want to go too far from the interstate. So a few minutes is fine, maybe 10 at most. But if they're having to go off the interstate like a half hour, and then pack up and go back another half hour, that's an hour of wasted time on their trip that they're just wasting getting to where they're going. So for those short-term stays, they really want to be close to the interstate, unless you're at like a destination place, where people would go
Mhm.
and spend like the whole weekend or longer. Then you can be a little bit further away. But if you're on the little hops in between, you definitely want to be as close to the interstate as you can.
Yeah. So would we buy right next to the Grand Canyon? Sure, because that's a destination. People are going to go there. It doesn't necessarily have to be by an interstate there, but we need to have something. And interstates, everyone's always traveling. So you get those happenstance buyers. That's huge. The next one that I have on here is 50 plus pads. And why do we want more than 50 pads? What's going on with that? Why do we have a minimum?
So that one's pretty simple. That was just money. Because if you have too few of pads, you're not going to be making that much profit, and it's not really worth for us to invest all our time and energy into bringing it up to something that's worthy of our standards. So it might
Yeah.
already make a little bit of money, but if you're under 50 pads, you're unless you're just always at 100% occupancy and just always printing money, it's probably just not worth it. So we stick it over 50 pads so that we can, even if we're at a lower occupancy, we're still making money.
Yeah, because there's a basic cost of your staff and things like that. There's that basic operating cost, and it's similar to having a manager and a maintenance person. They can handle 50 pads, just like they could handle 25 pads, and probably just like they could handle 75 and maybe even 100 pads, those two people. So staying in that range, you want to make sure that you're utilizing your costs and getting them, and so that you're getting the most amount of revenue for that certain chunk of expense that you have. So the next thing that we really like is being on water. Holy smokes. I mean, do you guys listening prefer to be on water versus not on water? I'm just going to leave it at that, is that it's like, yes, you do, right? I mean, I don't know, Kevin, if you've got a little bit more to add to that, but water is the life source in the world, and it helps us out, whether we're even in it or different things that can happen around it, if it's kayaking or marina or whatever. But studies have shown that people heal better, they're happier, even just seeing water, listening to water. And so why the heck wouldn't we want that in every place that we're buying?
Exactly.
Bam. And so the last one that we have is just some extra land that's underutilized. That's one of the beauties of RV parks, is there's usually more land that's there. But what are we going to do with all this extra land? Why is that important to us, that we're looking at our buy box to begin with?
So, a couple of things. One, of course, the easy one is you can always put extra pads on there and have extra income. But
Hmm.
that's not always the best decision. Sometimes you want to increase amenities. There's been some parks we looked at where, they don't really have a dog park, or they don't have a, gazebo, or, something for the people to hang out in. So you'd want to add that. Maybe you want to add in a clubhouse with, extra things for vending machines. One area that we looked at was on the water, but it had no beach. So by maneuvering things around a little bit, you can add sand, and boom, we got a beach there. And then look at the surrounding area. You can add more stuff. If people are going to congregate at the beach, then let's add this other stuff there. So it's just more about options. Having the extra land means that you have options to look at it and be creative and say, hey, what can I do to this land, and what will people want here? And having that is just part of the, modernizing the park, making it new, making it something that people want to now come see. Because whenever you make changes, people are going to come want to see what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you touched on everything there really well, Kevin. That's awesome. Yeah. So much you can do with extra land that it's crazy. And it can really affect your bottom line a lot. And the development that you have to do on it is mostly concrete and underground. So it's, not as expensive as other places like multifamily. To add extra dwelling units, it's expensive and time consuming. Not the case with RV parks. So that's our buy box, everyone. That's kind of our foundational reasons why we did a lot that we did. Kevin, thank you so much for your time today with us. Great stuff, right? I hope everyone's enjoying this one. It's awesome. Really gives some good insight. So perhaps take another listen to that if you want to really get into this RV park asset class and buying some for yourself. So just a quick recap. We talked about what got us into the RV park asset class in general. Specifically, Kevin and myself. You can hear why RV parks are so great in a previous episodes. Talked about the 4 RV park related businesses that we have, vertically integrated, all together and holistically and happily working and skipping down the road, making things great. And then we talked about why we made our foundational decisions with Hidden Beach, the most technologically advanced RV destination in the world, and then our buy box for buying existing parks versus the development and that specific difference. So if these topics interest you and you want to learn more, stay in touch. Look in the show notes to become an official Invest In Insider and continue your journey with us. And if you want to chat with me directly about investments and learn directly how you can invest in this awesome asset class of RV parks, you'll see a link in the show notes where you can schedule that one-on-one discovery call with me and Maverick Asher Capital. Make sure to join us next time for more ways to invest in your mind, life, and bank account. Be well, everyone. 45. That's a wrap for this episode of the Invest In podcast. We hope you gained valuable insights to fuel your investment journey.
If you found this episode helpful, don't keep it to yourself. Subscribe, rate, and review the show on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Your support helps us bring more insider knowledge from the top real estate and investment minds.
And if you're ready to take your investments to the next level, follow us on social media at Go Invest In on Instagram, LinkedIn, X, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, and everywhere for more expert tips, behind-the-scenes content, and exclusive updates.
Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, keep investing, keep building, and we'll see you on the road.